Jake stood outside apartment 204, staring at the faint light coming from under the door. His heart thumped with a mix of nerves and excitement. He checked his reflection in his phone screen, trying to smooth his hair, then took a deep breath and knocked. A few moments later, the door opened, and Lily appeared, wearing an oversized sweater, her hair a little messy, her eyes still soft from whatever movie she'd been watching. She looked surprised to see him. "Jake. It's late. Everything okay?" Yeah, sorry," he said quickly, rubbing the back of his neck. I've got a date tomorrow, and I have no idea what to wear. You've got good taste, so I was wondering if you could help me. Not look like a total idiot." For a second, Lily just stared at him. Her chest tightened at the word date. It wasn't the first time Jake came to her for help, fixing his tie, borrowing sugar, asking advice, but this one hit differently. She forced a laugh. "A date? Look at you, Mr. Romantic." He chuckled, unaware of how her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Yeah, I met someone online. I just don't want to mess it up." Lily crossed her arms, leaning against the doorframe. "So you came to me for fashion help?" "Well, yeah," he said, flashing that easy grin that always made her heart flutter. "You're kind of my style lifesaver." She bit her lip, torn between helping him and the ache growing inside her. "Fine," she said softly. "Come in. Let's find something that'll make her fall for you." Jake grinned and stepped inside, walking past her without noticing the way she lingered by the door, watching him. As he disappeared into her living room, she whispered to herself, so quietly that only the walls could hear. "You really have no idea, do you?" The words hung in the air, half confession, half heartbreak, as she closed the door behind them. Jake stood in front of Lily's mirror, tugging at the collar of a pale blue shirt. His reflection looked uncertain, like a man trying to be someone he wasn't. Behind him, Lily sat cross-legged on the couch, pretending to scroll through her phone while stealing quick glances at him. "This one's too formal, right?" he asked, turning slightly. "I feel like a lawyer on vacation." She looked up, forcing a small smile. "It's fine, if you're trying to impress her." He laughed, completely missing the bitterness under her teasing tone. "That's the plan." He smirked at himself in the mirror, brushing imaginary dust off his shoulder. Lily leaned back into the couch, hugging a cushion to her chest. The soft glow of her fairy lights danced across her face, but her eyes were heavy. "So, what's she like?" she asked casually, even though every word scraped against her heart. Jake grinned, sitting beside her. "She's funny. We met online. She likes old movies, coffee, all that stuff. She kinda reminds me of you, actually." That sentence cut deeper than he could ever know. She looked down at her hands. "Sounds like she's perfect." He shrugged. "I don't know about perfect, but I think it could be something real." Lily swallowed hard, feeling her throat tighten. The room was warm, but she suddenly felt cold. She stared at the twinkle lights reflected in his eyes, thinking how many nights they'd spent just like this, laughing, eating takeout, talking about everything. And now, he was getting ready to share that version of himself with someone else. He stood and faced the mirror again. "You think this outfit says I'm confident but not trying too hard." She rose slowly, stepping behind him. Her reflection appeared beside his, close enough for her shoulder to brush his arm. "It says you're trying," she murmured, her voice trembling. Jake turned his head toward her, eyebrows furrowed. "You okay?" For a long moment, she said nothing. Then her voice broke through the quiet, soft, shaky, but full of truth. "Jake, you really don't see I like you." The air froze. His smile faded. He blinked, unsure if he heard her right. Lily looked down, her cheeks flushed, her fingers twisting together nervously. "All this time, I thought maybe you'd notice. But you never did." Silence filled the room. Even the music in the background seemed to hush. Jake stood there, speechless, his reflection staring back at him, now seeing something he had been blind to all along. The morning light spilled gently across the quiet street. Jake stood outside their building, dressed neatly but with no destination anymore. In one hand, he held a cup of coffee that had long gone cold. His phone buzzed with a message, a simple, cheerful reminder from the woman he was supposed to meet. He stared at it for a long time before turning the screen off. He hadn't slept much. Lily's words from the night before echoed in his head on repeat, You really don't see I like you. He had played that moment over and over, the look in her eyes, the tremble in her voice, the way the room suddenly felt smaller, more fragile. It wasn't just a confession. It was years of friendship and quiet love spilling out at once. He sighed and took a sip of his coffee, the bitterness grounding him. Then he saw her. Lily stepped out of the building, wearing a simple grey hoodie and carrying a bag of groceries. Her hair was still slightly messy, her face soft with that quiet morning calm. When she noticed him, she hesitated, her steps faltering. "Hey," he said quickly, before she could turn away. "Morning," she murmured, adjusting the strap on her shoulder. "You're up early. Big day." Jake shook his head, his lips curving into a faint, tired smile. "Actually, no. I cancelled my date." She blinked, surprised. "Why?" He took a step closer, his eyes locked on hers. "Because I couldn't stop thinking about what you said." Her breath caught. She looked away, embarrassed. "Jake, you don't have to." "No," he interrupted gently, moving closer until he stood right in front of her. "You've been right here all along. You're the person I talk to about everything, the one who listens when no one else does. I don't know how I missed it, how I missed you." Lily's eyes shimmered, her voice barely above a whisper. "You mean that?" He smiled softly, reaching out to take her grocery bag and setting it aside. Then he held her hand, hesitant at first, like he was afraid she might pull away. "I mean it," he said. "If I'm being honest, I think I liked you before I even realized it." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The morning air was still, filled only with the quiet sound of the city waking up. Lily finally let out a small laugh, a single tear slipping down her cheek. "You're late, you know," she said playfully, her voice trembling. "For what?" he asked, smiling back. "For finally noticing." Jake chuckled softly and brushed his thumb across her hand. "Guess I just needed you to tell me." She smiled, the kind of smile that said forgiveness, relief, and something new beginning. As they stood there, sunlight spilling between them, the world seemed to slow down. The neighbor he once saw as a friend had become the one he never wanted to let go of. And for the first time, Jake realized his heart had always lived just one door away.